3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliarno.
Hi, you're listening to Fantasy Football Tips in association with Premier Punt, the home of daily fantasy football betting. This is game week 20. My name is Mills and I'm joined by the returning Quigliarno from his honeymoon and JP. And we're on Skype this week again. Hello, boys.
Hello there.
Good afternoon.
Quigliarno, I'm going to come straight to you. Good honeymoon?
Fantastic, mate. Brilliant. Don't know why I didn't do it sooner, mate.
Jet lagged at all? I mean, you've not been back very long, have you?
Very tired, mate. Very tired. But I managed to catch the last podcast, so I'm up to date on all that's been going on.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the response was phenomenal. Really, we've never had so much fan mail, and I'm not too sure why, considering the blunders. I mean, did you hear the disgraceful antics of JP?
Well, I mean, I've got a few notes just to get off my chest on that one. I mean, the term "rat up a drain pipe" sort of springs to mind. And it's got dual purpose there. I mean, Quigley's away on his honeymoon, Quigliarno, and what do we see? We see a little rat come up that drain pipe, JP, to try and steal a bit of limelight. And as I said, it was a dual focus there because it actually sounded like he was speaking through a drain pipe in that podcast. That the quality was so poor.
Well, hopefully it's a little bit better today.
The cost to shout was fantastic. I mean, well done there. Picking suspended players, I think, really good insight there. And obviously, his calmness under pressure. He couldn't even blag a Delia. He had to cancel that one. So well done there, JP.
Thanks very much.
I mean, JP, gaffes aside, you actually did pretty well in terms of the tips, didn't you?
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely deserve the abuse that I'm receiving on those two mistakes. They were critical. Having said that, some very good shouts. I'm pleased with my Gary of the week, Mesut Ozil. Goal and assist, did cool something like that. Benteke scored, Igalo scored. A long shot in Shane Long got an assist. So, if you go past the mistakes, you can see some really good tips there.
You've really got to want to go past the mistakes, though. And for me, I'm still worried about you there.
Yeah, I understand that. I think there's room for improvement, and I'm always looking to do that.
Okay, I mean, let's also say, I've got to commend the commitment from both of you this week, gentlemen. It is New Year's Eve. So Happy New Year, first of all, to you, to both of you, and to all our listeners, wherever you are in the world, Happy New Year. Whether you're listening to this today or maybe with a hangover on New Year's Day, what a commitment.
It is actually New Year's Day in Australia, and we know Quigliarno's got a lot of fans over there. So just Happy New Year, especially to those that solid group.
Okay, so Quigliarno, I'm going to come straight in this week with the Gary of the week. I want to go straight into these tips. So what have you got for us? We're coming back to you, by the way, JP. It was a good audition last week, but Quigliarno, he's back there. I mean, I'm just hoping you've had time. And to get yourself up to date, considering you've been in Jamaica.
I have been there, mate. I have been to that tropical island. It's a Captain Obvious one this week, unfortunately. Probably similar to where Joe got his from last week because it was obvious, and that's Mesut Ozil. You can't ignore the form and the fact that he was dominating that game in the week. So Ozil, Gary of the week.
Yeah, I mean, over 50% of managers have got him. So he's going to be a very popular captain choice this week, isn't he? But like you say, you can't ignore that form. And we've been saying for some time now, he's a must-have player. He's just gone up to £10 million. But, it's good value, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately, when I wildcarded, I put in Sanchez for Ozil. Thought Sanchez was the better option, and that has bit me in the backside because I think I sold him at about 9 million. He's now 10, so that is heartbreak city right now.
It is. You've got to get him back in there, Quigliarno. So let's go and have a look at the Xabi Alonso, the long shot.
Long shot this week. We're going for Lamela. Creative force, does have an eye for goal as well. Somebody who's just full of potential, and in a Spurs team that seems to be in good form and does have good fixtures as well. So he is the long shot this week. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, sort of third best strike force in the division at the moment, Spurs are, and they're going up against Everton, who are have one of the worst defensive records, particularly of late. I think they conceded 7 goals in their last 3. And one of those games was a clean sheet against Newcastle, so 3 in one and 4 in the other. Obviously, Stoke City rolled them over last week, didn't they? JP, your thoughts on that?
Love it. Great idea.
Okay, I mean, again, the insight, it's beautiful.
I think he's learnt his place now, and I like this. I like to see this from Joe. Well done.
The rat has gone back in the hole. Okay.
Wow.
Enough said on that, the better.
Great shout.
Okay. And, I mean, hang on, I've forgotten. Oh, no, of course, it's the Delia.
It's the Delia. Well, I'm calling him out, and that's Diego Costa. Where were you last week? Let's be having you. I mean, you were tipped by JP. Surely should have been banging in goals left, right, and centre. I mean, JP, can you shed any light on that?
Yes, unfortunately, he was suspended. Yes, yeah.
So you're telling me if I just tuned into this podcast to listen to your tips and didn't look at anything else, I would be transferring in a suspended player?
Well, hopefully you wouldn't have been, because I did correct him on it. So it's not like we let it go unnoticed, obviously, as you heard.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
No, my hands are up, and that's not a metaphor. I'm holding my hands up right now in a position to accept my responsibility of being wrong there. So apologies to the fans on Diego Costa. That was a mistake.
I just want to know what metaphor that would have been. JP.
Yeah. Just a metaphor, isn't it, Mr. Mills?
Please don't put him on the spot. It's not fair. We know he can't respond to that.
Brilliant. I mean, the silence there was beautiful.
I'm not prepared to answer anymore.
Okay, so I want to, I mean, fans' favourite now, Quigliano. Let's get off to a better start than JP did last week. Let's go for the side tips.
Hashtag side tips. Well, we're going to whiz through them then. We've got Bentechosaurus. He's still not looking like he's a massive, massive goal scorer, but he is chipping in. And Liverpool will create chances, that is for sure. And he seems to be the main man there. So Benteke is the shout. Mahrez, Leicester have Bournemouth. Easier fixture for them. They've had quite a tough run. And that's somebody that you probably going to keep in your team for that game especially. Arnautovic, Stoke, looking good. Tipped before by me. Again, haven't got him in my team, so I can't do anything about that. Hennessy is the cheap keeper option. Crystal Palace looking decent, have had a decent run of form as well. Harry Kane and Deeney up front cannot be ignored as 2 strike potentials, and you've got the difference in price there, so you could probably have both. I know JP's going to Igalo, and I will back him up on that one as well there. Igalo is another solid option. He looks class. And then Arsenal do love a game against Newcastle. I'm tipping Giroud and Walcott as they're both playing in the team at the minute. Those are the side tips.
Lovely, I like it. JP, I mean, have you got anything to add to that? I mean, have you got anything to add to the podcast at all today?
Well, I mean, that's a little bit hurtful there, Millsy. But,
Sorry, JP, it was.
No, it's fine.
It was vicious.
No, I like the shouts. I think they're good, yeah. And obviously, Quigliano backing me on the Igalo shout, so I appreciate that. Listen, there's some good side tips in there, guys. If you can get those players in your team, get them in. I think Lamela is looking very dangerous and very creative at the moment, so I think he will assist/score a goal against Everton.
Okay, that's lovely. We're going to be straight back after this with a few questions from the fans.
You are listening to Mills and Quigliano on the FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. Sponsored by Premier Punt. All your fantasy Premier League tips in one juicy little podcast. Get in touch at www.fantasyfootballtips.co.
Okay, so Quigliano and JP, I'm going to fire in some questions from the fans for you this week. It's been quite busy on the old email and Twitter this week.
Question time with Quigliano, nice.
And supported by JP, of course. And this first one comes in from FPL Kegger on Twitter, and he asks how many, and he doesn't make very good English actually, I'm going to say. I'm going to read it out as he's written it.
Well, we're going to where he's from,
How many and what position should your differentials at? So basically, I think what he's asking is, if you've got differential, he wants to know differential players, how many should you put in your team, and maybe what position should they be in?
Do you want me to go first, JP?
You can go first on this one, and I'll follow you up.
Well, I think that all depends on what sort of position you're in at this mid-season part of the table. Because if you're in your mini league, it depends whether you're looking to try and win your mini league. Because realistically, most of us aren't going to win FPL unless you've had a fantastic season. So therefore, your next goal might be to beat your nearest rivals in your mini league. If you're down the bottom, you obviously need to have some more differentials if you're going to have any chance of getting back up the top, because everyone's already going to be covering the must-have players like you've mentioned, like your Ozils, Mahrez this season, Vardy, Kane. Those players that are performing regularly, you have to have those in to have any chance of picking up points. But then, if you're chasing, you're going to need more differentials throughout your team. Whereas if you're defending that league, you want the high ownership players that everyone has got, and if you have a good game week, then you're going to have good points just the same as everyone else, and then you're not going to lose that place at the top, if that makes sense.
Okay, JP, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing I would add is actually this season, I think the captain choice has probably been more important than the differentials, actually. There's been so many consistently good scorers, like we spoke about, Ozil, Lukaku, Igalo, Vardy, Mahrez. I actually think the more important decision is to look at the fixtures and make the right captain choice. I know myself personally, I've won a couple of weeks just based on a good captain choice. I wouldn't worry too much about too many differentials. Like you say, if you're down at the bottom, you might want one or two. But
more than 1 and 2, I would say there. Because I would say within each team, you've got 1 or 2.
Okay. Yes, maybe 3 or 4, but there's going to be at least 6 or 7, I would say, are starting that are guaranteed you need to have in your team.
So, JP, just sort of touching on that then, you said the captain choice is more important. Is that worth kind of gambling on the captain choice and looking for a differential captain?
Yes, 100%. I did that a couple of weeks ago with Mahrez against Everton.
Really stuck your neck out on the line on that one, didn't you?
I stuck my neck out on that there, big time. Because there were some obviously other good captain choices that were being picked. So I went for it a little bit. I know Mahrez is a good player, and he got 2 goals, and I ended up getting 20-odd points, like 29 points from him. No, 28 points, sorry.
Okay, let's move on. We've got another question here on the email from Stephen Carter.
Mill, just to pick up on that, Mills just literally shut you straight again, Joe. It's like, I've heard enough. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah. Thanks, Jay.
I think JP was making some good points about captain there, and that it is very powerful this season because we haven't got Aguero firing, because that's what everyone would have, Aguero in the team.
Thank you, Gugliano. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but back up. Mills has just brushed you to one side.
I apologise for that. Yes. Look, I'm not here to stroke any egos, and that's not a metaphor, JP. Right, this one comes on the email. So this is from Stephen Carty. He says, "Hi there, Mills. Really enjoying the show this year. Great work from the three of you. Question for the podcast: going forward, what do you guys think of David Silva? Like many football fans, I think he's an exceptional player and he has been a fantastic FPL choice in recent years. However, I'm worried that he might be less effective now that KDB has become a first-team regular. KDB seems to be taking a lot of the team set pieces, and it looks like Silva could become the player who assists the assister, if you get what I mean. Thoughts on that, boys?"
Can I go first? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, great terminology from that guy. Thank you for your kind compliments there. I would agree with you to an extent. I think of the two, I think De Bruyne is the more threatening at the moment. Now, obviously, Silva's been injured. He's going to take a few weeks. I don't think he's the sort of player that can immediately come back and be in top form. I think you need to give him a few weeks. So at the moment, I would say KDB. Give yourself a couple of weeks, see how he's getting on. If the balance, the tide starts to turn, then you can consider David Silva. Because in my opinion, in terms of pricing, I don't think they're going to be that different. At the moment, it's 0.9 million. I don't think it's going to go, hugely different from that point on. So my summary is keep De Bruyne for now.
Okay. Quigliano, anything to add on that?
I mean, it's clear that he's a quality player. And I think that was sometimes that is his problem, when he's playing that ball before the ball becomes the assist. But I think you've got so many options in Man City. Like even Sterling is a cheaper option. He does chip in now and again. It's just who to have. How are you going to balance it? I've got Aguero and KDB, and for me, actually, at the minute, one of those has to go. And that's a decision I've got to make there. Silva is class, and at some point, he's going to start firing again. It's just probably, I think KDB is the better of the two if you're determined to have them.
Okay, thank you. And a final question, and this comes from Alan Kehoe, again on the email, and Alan's a premium member, so hello, Alan. He says, Happy New Year, lads. Now that Payet is fit, would it be a good time to put him back in or wait? He's got Henderson, so he could just swap him.
Well, he was class at the start of the season. There's no ignoring that. And West Ham were a better team with him in there. They've faltered slightly without him. It's too early for me. I would wait. I think you can afford to wait. The price isn't going to change that much. And Henderson coming back isn't a bad option. Historically, a good FPL player. So I would hold tight personally. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not convinced that he is going to play at the weekend. There's been talk saying that, Bilic might throw him straight back in, but I'm not convinced by that. I think he's too important to rush back. Completely agree with you, Quigliano, on that. He did so well at the start of the season. But they can't risk him, surely, JP?
Yeah, no, first of all, Happy New Year's to Alan there. Much thank you for your compliments again.
What's Can you just tell me his last name, Joe? JP?
Alan.
His last name?
Alan.
Just heard the name Alan, to be honest.
Kehoe.
Yeah. It's all right, I was just testing you on your names there. See if you're listening.
No, usually you refer to people as their first name, but okay. I agree with the guys, though.
Says the man called Quigliano, but yeah.
Well, you're the chosen one. You're a bit different.
And JP, who goes by both initials. So.
Yes, okay.
And Mills.
Again, but first name, yeah. Great point.
Point taken. No, listen, Payet was good, but you've got to wait a week. You can't be putting him in yet. I love it, though, if he was to put him in next week, if he starts, let's say, and he does okay. Brave decision to put him in so early, but for me, you've got to wait at least 2 weeks.
Okay, fantastic. I again agree with both of you on that. So, gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure today, and we're about to go for the standard members, but for the premium members, obviously we'll be back very shortly with the podcast extra this week, where we're going to be talking about our FPL New Year's resolutions, and obviously we'll also come back in with our captain tips for this week. But just let's give them a little taste, a little teaser first of all. So JP, I'm going to come to you. New Year's Eve, so everyone always sort of throws around resolutions, don't they, that they generally never stick to. Things like, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to stop eating so much chocolate, I'm not going to drink, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
FPL though, let's have some FPL resolutions. I know certainly what I'm going to be doing, or trying to do. What are in your thoughts?
Well, for me, it's consistent point scoring. So my New Year's resolution, or one of mine.
I can see where this is going. Go on.
Sorry, I don't know if I've said something funny yet, but it's fine. You laugh away. My target is to always score above 50 points per week.
Is that a resolution?
That is a resolution.
That's more like a dream.
That's like an aim, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting.
It's like a smart target.
Well, if you look at December, I've done that quite easily. But we'll see.
Ooh.
More than so. How was September, October, November? I mean, don't just give us the.
Well, I'm looking at the league table and I'm second place or third place now.
Oh, there we go, third.
He's throwing it in there, yeah.
Making his mistakes again. You're in third place.
Third.
Oh, sorry, you're the third.
Oh, nice. Very good. Good use of words there, like that. So I'm third, and manager of the month this month. So I'm happy. It's gone well. So 50 points minimum.
Okay. I still don't think that's a resolution, so I'm gonna push you for another one in the podcast extra, JP. Gentlemen, I really do appreciate your company today because it is busy. JP, I hear you're off to a fancy dress party.
I am off to a fancy dress party.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to reveal what you're going as, or who you're going as?
Yeah, is that? Do you want to tell you that now, or?
Yeah, please. Yeah. I mean, it's no point tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I am going as a very famous character known as Danny Zuko from Greece.
Oh right, nice. Okay.
Looking forward to it. Slick back hair.
Surely you're going to shave that beard off then, if you're going to stay true to the character.
I can't bring myself to do it. I held the razor by the beard, and I just couldn't do it. So unfortunately, I'm now Danny Zuko a few years on.
A washed up Danny Zuko.
Exactly what I was about to say. A little bit depressed. The woman has left him, and he's now developed a kind of shaggy beard. But
okay, so you don't have a Sandy to take with you.
I didn't say I don't have a Sandy to take with me.
He's got a bag of sand that he'll be carrying around with him.
No. There will be a Sandy. There will be a Sandy.
Okay, and on that we're gonna close the standard podcast. If you're not a member, go to fantasyfootballtips.co/register and you can sign up for our 14-day free trial right there. Happy New Year, one and all. Podcast Extra is back after this. I've been Mills.
I've been Quigliano.
And I've been JP.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Warning, 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 warning. 3, 2, 1. The fantasyfootballtips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.